Yo, what's happening, people? It's your girl Mina. Welcome back to my channel. Happy Tuesday to everybody out there, of course. And you don't know what it is. It's still international break, but of course, there's always some Manchester United news going around in the world of football. You guys know what it is. Big up to everybody in the chat. And the biggest topic of discussion in the last couple of days, especially as Thursday, the big Thursday approaches, is Jim Ratcliffe Ineos's 25%. I don't want to call it takeover because I don't think 25% is a takeover. So I'm just going to call it minority investment. Maybe that might be a better word. And honestly, today a lot more news has come out surrounding that. I would highly recommend you guys have a listen to the Athletics football podcast that was released this morning. It had David Ornstein, Adam Crafton, etc. on it, and they were talking about some information surrounding what happened behind the scenes regarding not just Sir Jim Ratcliffe, but also Sheikh Jassim withdrawing his bid. You guys know what it is. Big up to everyone in the chat. I can see a few of you guys in the chat. Be sure to hit the like button and get involved. It's like people don't know that I'm on stream. They're just buzzing my door. It is what it is. Be sure to hit the like button. You guys know what it is. It's not a stream if someone don't buzz my house or if there's not police sirens outside. But be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. A lot of content coming throughout the next couple of days, especially as the women's season. Actually, it's going to be international break for the women's season after our game tomorrow. I will be doing a watch along, guys, but it might be late. I might not do it for the first half. And the reason why is a good reason. It's a good reason. The game starts at 7 p.m. UK time, and I am a keynote speaker at a Black History Month event by Football Beyond Borders and the London FA. So I promise it's a good reason as to why I might be late to my own stream. But I promise I'll be there at least for the second half. I promise that. But like I said, we're here today to talk about the information that's available to us. The information available to us regarding this Jim Ratcliffe 25% minority investment. And one thing that actually stood out to me when I was listening to this podcast, I was listening to the Athletics podcast today. And one thing that stood out to me was regarding the fact, and I think this actually corresponds with a lot of information we've kind of been fed over the last couple of days, the fact that a lot of people in the senior leadership of Manchester United, this is not the Glazers that I'm talking about, this is not the board, this is the senior leadership that I'm talking about regarding Richard Arnold, Murto, etc. You know, the people that run the day-to-day activities of Manchester United are reportedly looking over their shoulders when it comes to Sir Jim and his entourage, as I would like to call it, making their way to Old Trafford. Now, listening to the podcast today, there was some information revealed that back in March, I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a day back in March when Ineos's entourage arrived at Old Trafford. Sheikh Jassim's entourage arrived at Old Trafford. It wasn't Sheikh Jassim that came, but it was a lot of his main involvers, including his bank advisors, etc. And it was reported, and actually, it was reported earlier, just before I went on stream as well, by I think it was Daily Mail. I want to say it was Daily Mail. No, it was Telegraph. It was a Telegraph, actually. Presentations obviously was given to them by Manchester United, and the reason why some people at Manchester United are feeling threatened regarding Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos is because they made it clear. Apparently, Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos made it clear that Manchester United has been run as nonsense the last couple of years. Especially, they picked at Manchester United's transfer policies, most recently purchasing Casemiro, which is one person that they actually brought up reportedly in this meeting, saying that they did not understand that transfer. They didn't understand that transfer as to why they brought Casemiro for 60 million and gave him 350k on a 4-year contract. So he is already digging at them for things that have been done in the past. Whereas with Sheikh Jassim's entourage and the team from the 9-2 Foundation, they felt a lot more warmed towards them. They felt a lot more reassured that maybe their jobs would not be threatened, because reportedly Ineos kind of hinted at the fact that, you know, they put a lot of investment into data analysis, and this is seen with, you know, a lot of investments that Ineos have across the sporting industry, and that they would look to move towards those kind of options to kind of make transfer policies or decisions. Now, I don't know how you lot feel about that. And I feel like as the days go on, and especially as Thursday kind of looms, we will start to hear a lot more about what might be the process regarding Sir Jim Ratcliffe's involvement in Manchester United. You guys know where I stand at this. I feel like Sir Jim Ratcliffe has bent over for the Glazers, not in a bad way, guys. I don't mean it like that. But I mean in terms of the fact that he went from, before Manchester United was up for sale, he was talking about wanting 100%. Then Man United went up for sale. Then he said 75%. Then he said, 69%. Then it was 50%. And then finally agreed at 25%. I mean, you don't want the club that badly if you're willing to pay for 25% and then with the expectation of a permanent buyout at a later date. If you want the club there and then, you will pay the money that is asked for. Now, you guys are probably going to be like, oh, but, Qatari's kind of offered that. Well, apparently the Glazers didn't really like the approach coming from Qatar. Let me quickly get to some of the comments in the chat. Fabio says, yo, Mina, my uncle gave Jace a lift. Shout out to your uncle. Shout out to your uncle. Koala's asking for pictures in the chat. And he's saying he didn't take any. But I believe you. I believe you, Fabio. Don't worry. I believe you. Big up to your uncle. She doesn't speak English, so I wonder how them conversations kind of went. Big up to Dipesh. Says, can't understand people supporting Ratcliffe. Anyone who facilitates the Glazers staying surely is a red flag. I do agree. I do agree to an extent. I've seen people saying like, we just need to accept this because this is the reality for now. But I think once there's more information regarding, what is going to be Ineos and Jim Ratcliffe's involvement. I heard on the podcast today, the Athletic podcast, that potentially, it will be a debt-driven purchase, but they will not be allocating that against Manchester United. So if that is confirmed, I think that's a big part of it, because obviously a lot of fans are, majority fans, against that idea of debt against the club. Number one. Number two, I think once there's more information surrounding it, because one thing I don't get, and I'm going to get into it actually after I go through the comments, is how you can own a football club, but you want no involvement in actually running it? Meaning you're just there to make money. You're just a silent investor. You're not even a silent investor. You're just a silent owner at that case. It blows my mind that the Glazers still want to stay in, because to them, of course, it's a cash-making machine. It makes money. You guys remember Ed Woodward literally, I can't remember when it was, but he said that results on the pitch didn't matter because United would always financially do well. They would get, their marketing money. They would make their money from match day, from sponsorships, etc., etc. They would always be okay financially. But the fact that blows my mind regarding this whole Jim Ratcliffe thing is, of course, Jim Ratcliffe is pleasing the Glazers by buying 25% in the hopes that he'll be able to buy them out in a longer date, which is okay. You went from wanting 100% to being happy with 25%, but at least he got his foot in the door. Maybe that's the mindset that he has. But what confuses me is the fact that the Glazers are willing to hand over sporting operations and the footballing side of stuff for 25% for 1.3 billion, meaning did they value 4 billion as the marketability of the club? Because essentially that is what a football club is. It's the sporting operations. Obviously there's the marketing side of stuff, there's the community side of stuff, CSR side of stuff, but essentially running a football club is literally about the footballing operations. So they want nothing to do with that. How is that okay? That's what I don't get. That's just one thing I just don't understand. This takeover stuff and investment of Ratcliffe is just tiring, sad, and depressing me. I will only believe things when I see them. Peace. Big up to Alumba. I agree, man. You guys knew where I stood regarding this. Prayers for people in Palestine. Thank you for that comment, Ahmed, regarding a hospital being... it's just sad. It's just sad. Honestly, it's just sad. Please be respectful to our new owner. Refer him as SJR. I mean, I just call him Sir Jim Ratcliffe. I just call him by his full name. And someone actually told me to stop calling him Sir. But that's his title. That's his given title. Apparently, she was silent the whole journey. She doesn't speak English. So I'm not surprised. I know at the club, this is in regards to Jace, by the way, guys. I know at the club, she has a translator with her. every day in her day-to-day operations. But in an Uber, I guess she's learned how to just book an Uber from destination A to B. So she's had no reason to do so, to have her translator with her. Ratcliffe has no patience for managers, competent or incompetent. He can win 25% of me over by sacking Eric Ten Hag. Koala's standards is in the floor. Now, we're going to actually talk about that, because I was, of course, reading articles before coming online, before I do my streams. It seems like whenever I'm getting ready to do my stream is just when there's a lot of news kind of out there. And what is interesting to me is, have you guys seen, and I know it's actually quite funny because someone pointed it out, I think the difference between, and I hate to bring up Sheikh Jassim, but I'm going to bring him up because it's not a stream about a takeover if I don't bring him up. I know a lot of people are kind of caught up on the what ifs, what if his bid had been accepted and all of that kind of stuff, because I think we had a lot more PR information. I'm going to call it PR information. We had a lot more information surrounding. I'm not going to lie, a lot of it was good, too good, sounded too good to be true. It definitely could have happened. I don't doubt it would have happened, but I definitely felt like the fact that Sheikh Jassim's PR statements was a lot more attractive to fans because it had a lot more information. It resonated a lot more with fans in comparison to, I think, the bare minimum what we're getting from Sir Jim Ratcliffe. It's one of them situations where I say to myself, do we just wait, see how it pans out? Because he doesn't need to come out and say a whole load of something, because people are just going to accuse it of being PR. People are going to just accuse him of lying, just saying what people want to hear, because it's kind of like he's damned if he does and he's damned if he doesn't. If he comes out and makes statements, it's like, oh, it's PR. And if he doesn't say anything, people are going to be like, oh, he's in bed with the Glazers. Now, obviously, I think it's been brought up regarding this, idea that Ineos have their own people they want to bring in. They have their own, Arnold and Murto, count your days. Your days in employment sounds like it's numbered. It sounds like it's numbered. From every report that I've read, it sounds like the first people that will be out of the door will be those two. I can't imagine how soon it will be. I don't know how soon it will be, but it sounds like those two, and the footballing direction, even though they only came in the last couple of years, the footballing direction that the club has been heading at, that fans have not been happy with, is also something that Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos is not impressed with. So that's something that they are targeting immediately. Now, for me, like I said just before, it's weird that you can buy 25% of a club and get complete ownership of the sporting operations of the club, meaning you are in charge of recruitment. You run the recruitment side, you run the transfer side, you run, the managerial side, who is being hired as a manager, etc., etc. You can get all of that for 25%. If I knew that, damn, I would have bidded for the club myself. Not that I've got 1.3 billion lying around, because I don't, but I'm sure we could have actually, as United fans, I'm sure we could have raised that money online, I'm sure, amongst the global 6, 7, 8, however billion fans there are of Manchester United. But one thing that it does seem is going to be the case is the fact that Paul Mitchell might come in. There's a lot of names I'm hearing. Even when I was listening to the very detailed Athletic podcast, there was names flying around that it's not new names. It's definitely not new names that I've heard in this process, but it's just speculation. I think it's just speculation. But one thing that is guaranteed is the fact that Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos are not impressed with the way that Manchester United has been run, which is why I believe that Arnold and Murto will be the first heads to be cut off, i.e. they will be the first people out of the door. The fact that, and it kind of explained why we kept hearing reports about the fact that, Manchester United leadership was leaning more towards, Qatari ownership, because, they warmed up to them more in these meetings. It's because it sounds like Sir Jim Ratcliffe went in and just criticized stuff. Obviously, these presentations were from Manchester United back in March. It was from Manchester United to these potential investors. But it seems like Sir Jim Ratcliffe just criticised them and even brought up points about specific transfers that are questionable that has happened in the last couple of years. And obviously, the main one of discussion was Casemiro, which I'm actually glad they kind of brought that up, because I too question that price that we paid, a premium price, if you would like to call it, regarding for someone his age, etc. Now, with this whole process, like I said, with the Glazers, both the bidders has SJ as the initials, Sir Jim and Sheikh Jassim. That is true. That is true. I seen speculation regarding the fact that, you know, the Saudis, when they were buying Newcastle, they said they were out and then they came back with another bid. Guys, it's been confirmed. Fabrizio confirmed. So you know when it's Fabrizio confirmed, that's pretty much legit. That's pretty much legit. It's been confirmed that he has, and I'm talking about Sheikh Jassim, has completely pulled out, has no intention to ever bid for the club. Definitely not with the Glazers in ownership. Nor, I don't think they've crossed out the likelihood of buying another team in the UK. That's not really something that's been discussed. But apparently, the feeling in his camp, the feeling in his group, the feeling in the 1992 Foundation is violation. They feel violated. They feel disrespected at the fact that they've been strung along throughout this entire 12-month, 11-month process. The fact that they have multiple times re-up their bid, and on paper felt that they had the best bid, which on paper, actually, I'm not going to lie, they did have the best bid for the club. And I said this a while back, and I think I said this a while back. I remember saying that it doesn't matter if they have the best bid for the club. The Glazers do not care about what's best for the club. They care about what's best for their pockets. The Glazers don't care that you want to invest $1.5 billion into other stuff. They don't care that outside of the 6.57 billion, however much it is that you're offering to buy the club for, the Glazers don't care that you're also offering up to extend the stadium, fix the stadium, to, you know, fix the academy, fix the training facilities, invest in local communities. The Glazers don't care about that stuff. And it was also mentioned in reports yesterday and today regarding the fact that the Glazers actually laughed. The Glazers actually laughed at, I'm not going to say they laughed at Sheikh Jassim's offer, but they laughed at the details in his offer, because it was things that they didn't care about. And also they felt like it was things that was digging at them, i.e. not investing in the stadium, you know, repairs, etc., not investing in training facilities, not investing in the local communities, which you have seen with the likes of Manchester City and the Abu Dhabi ownership, exactly what they've done with their local communities. So obviously Sheikh Jassim was willing to invest that. I saw people keeping their hopes up. Some people said it's not over till the fat lady sings. I fully believe that that is a done deal. That bridge is burnt. I don't think the Qataris are going to come back and make another bid. Not for Manchester United, and not whilst the Glazers still own it. And I do feel like with this whole Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and I've seen people saying, you know, you just got to get on board. Obviously, some people are not going to be on board. But as far as I stand, where I stand, and I think I've said this before, any option to kind of keep the Glazers in is just, it doesn't sit well with me. It doesn't bode well with me. The fact that, and to me, it is a bit of a, it's not a red flag, but it's a raised eyebrow. The fact that Sir Jim Ratcliffe was willing, or mentioned many times before, that he was interested in 100%. Then it went from that to 69%. Then it went from that to, you know, less than 50%. And it went from that to the final one being 25%, which of course works in the Glazers' favor. That 1.3 billion is going straight into their pocket. That is going straight into their pocket. They are pocketing it. It's not being reinvested. But after this Thursday, everyone keeps talking about Thursday. I hate the sound of Thursday. I hate it. I hate hearing the word Thursday. Everyone used to talk about, KG always used to say Thursday. All I'm hearing today, Thursday. The board meeting on Thursday. I was going to say, I don't care. I do care. Of course I care. I wouldn't be talking about it if I didn't care. But one thing that I am hoping that comes as a result of, you know, if it gets approved, because it's likely that it will get approved. If it gets approved, I'm hoping that it will result in a bit more transparency regarding this minority investment, because that's what it is. It's not a takeover, although it's a sporting takeover. Actually, if we look at it like that, it's actually a sporting takeover. It's actually a sporting takeover, because essentially they are asking for control over the sporting operations. Obviously, they've kind of hinted at what could be their plans. But again, it's just, I feel like at this point, it's obviously what people want to hear. And they know that they need to get people on their side. One thing that I have realized regarding Sir Jim Ratcliffe is that it's reported that he is not like the Glazers, i.e., he is not a kind of sit back, let people do their jobs and we just make our money. Apparently, it's reported that he wants to be involved in the operations of the club, the sporting operations, the decision making, which is what you want in owners. I did see, and I hate to bring it up again. I hate to bring it up, but I can't. I have to bring up Sheikh Jassim because I know a lot of people were a bit skeptical regarding, the fact that, that meeting in March, he didn't attend. He sent his people. So Jim Ratcliffe actually had, the guts to show up with his people. When do you really see owners fully involved all the time? I think there needs to be definitely there's a fine line. I think if Sir Jim Ratcliffe is to be involved with the sporting operations and the direction the club is heading at and the decision making, of course, there needs to be a fine line between the people he brings in and obviously what he's doing and his involvement. And I know people always talk about Nice, the fact that they're second in the league right now, but they sucked at some point. Everyone's talking about this season, but there were seasons where they were terrible. And it's funny because in an article I was reading regarding the fact that Sir Jim Ratcliffe was critical of Casemiro's purchase in the summer last year. When was it? It was last summer. They compared it to the fact that, Nice didn't really spend that much money and managed to bring in 10, 11 players for the same price of Casemiro. No bloody disrespect. No disrespect. But Nice and Manchester United are not the same. They are not remotely the same. And yes, I'm still questioning Casemiro's appointment, buying him for 60 million, etc. But there's no way that this article, I can't remember who the reporter was. I can't remember. I think it was Mike Keegan. No, it wasn't. It was Jamie Jackson. Basically saying, Nice brought 10, 11 players, including Schmeichel, Ramsey, etc. They're two different clubs, two different leagues. They got two different types of pull, if you want to put it like that. Shout out to Mike in the chat. Says, yeah, but none of the parasites showed up for the meetings either. That is true. That is true. They just sent their people. And this is why it doesn't, guys, it honestly does not sit well with me, the Glazers staying. And I know everyone's trying to see the silver lining in this cloud regarding Sir Jim Ratcliffe taking over the club or whatever, 25% takeover, whatever you want to call it, minority investment, whatever you guys wanted to call it. It just does not sit well with me that the Glazers would have made 1.3 billion pounds from selling 25%, and then they are staying on, meaning they will continue to make more money. People that don't care about the club, people that don't care about the local community, people that don't care about the fact that, winning on the pitch, they just care about winning on the financial statement so they can walk away with their dividends at quarter end, half end, year end, etc. It just does not sit well with me. And that's why it's really difficult, no matter what I hear regarding the plans for, repairing the stadium or maybe even expanding it, investing in the first team and the academy, etc. It's very difficult for me to get behind it because I know the Glazers are still there. And also, we do not know, and this is the biggest, I think, question of it all. I think it's the biggest question, which we will only know more as kind of time goes on. The biggest question is, what on earth or how on earth will decisions be made when it comes to transfers? Giving the manager, a contract extension, selling players, etc. How will decisions be made when there's another seat at the table regarding Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the Glazers? Are the Glazers still able to veto stuff? So say, like I said the other day on my stream, say United wanted to buy Mbappe. Say they had the funds for it. But it has to go past final approval. Even if Sir Jim Ratcliffe has control of sporting operations, is there still someone above him that kind of says the final yes? I think that's the question surrounding this entire thing. Is what is the order of kind of decision making? Does it end at Sir Jim Ratcliffe? Is there some people after him that make the final decision? Does that mean they could easily veto those decisions? And I think, obviously, until Thursday, don't want to say that word, but obviously until Thursday, maybe even after that, we won't have enough more information surrounding this deal, surrounding, the Glazers' involvement in the club. But like I said, until I know those answers, it's very, very difficult for me to kind of get behind it. So Jim jumped in front of a bullet for the Glazers, that fracking reptile. Essentially, I don't see it as him jumping in front of the bullet. Well, actually he has, because he's basically now put himself in the firing line. He paid 1.3. How are you paying money to put yourself in the firing line? That's weird to me. But you paid money to put yourself in the firing line because the Glazers were always getting a lot of slack, a lot of criticism. Now what? Now what? So you're happy to take the hit? Are you that confident that you will turn the club around and, like you said, make Manchester United again, whatever the hell that means? You are so confident that you will do that you put yourself in front of the Glazers and you're willing to take the criticism and the fall, and also that's not even for 100% ownership of the club, because he still does not have a majority ownership, even in that 69% that the Glazers owned and the rest was, shareholders. You still don't have majority ownership. So it's just, there's just so many questions. I have so many questions, and these questions are never ending. A man's greedy when he can't fix his ponytail by adding hair on the part that actually matters. You don't want to go to Turkey and get a hair transplant. Hikey, I've always wanted a Mark Cuban type of owner. Mark Cuban is a funny NBA owner. Honestly, if you guys don't know, Mark Cuban is the owner of the Dallas Mavericks. I just remember him when he said that the Lakers should amnesty Kobe Bryant, i.e. basically waive him. This is like 2010, I think, or 2011. It was 2011 or 2012, actually. And then Kobe Bryant dropped like 60 on the Dallas Mavericks and then went and tweeted saying amnesty that. That's all I ever remember Mark Cuban for. But he's a very heavily involved owner. He's very involved in the operations of the club, the social media aspect. Like, he's so active on social media when it comes to interacting with fans, etc. And he's always got something to say. Sir Jim's not going to want to invest the money that the club actually needs, because he'll have to pay the snakes more when he buys the rest. Shout out to Jason for that comment, because that actually brings up another question that I have. Where's the money coming from in the transfer windows? Now that they have 25%, the Glazers still have 44%, I think it is. Still got 44% ownership. Who now becomes liable for paying for transfers? Is there going to be any direct investment from Ineos, i.e. their money, their 43 billion, I think, value that they have, whatever the valuation of their company is? Sir Jim Ratcliffe is the second richest man in the UK. Is any money going to come out of their actual pockets? Because I think that's also been, the fans' issues with the Glazer family for so long, is the fact that a lot of what Manchester United were investing in summer transfer windows was coming from the cycle of revenue that Manchester United was producing themselves as a club. Because as a club, Manchester United can produce enough revenue to be at least self-sufficient. But I think football has passed the point of being completely self-sufficient, and you need, additional investment. So if that was to happen, where's that coming from? That's another question I have. That's another question that I'm sure a lot of other fans have too. The Glazers are keeping over 50%. Okay, so if they're thank you for that, for mentioning that in the comments. So if the Glazers are keeping over 50% in terms of ownership, then does that mean that means nothing is being invested in transfer windows, because they ain't done it before? A lot of that money, I know people will be like, United spend 200 million every summer transfer window. It's 2 million. The United is sufficient enough to generate enough revenue and enough cash in terms of profit after tax to invest and to buy players. But it's moved past the point of being self-sufficient, and you need your owners to invest their own money. So in that instance, where is that investment coming from? Is it coming from Ineos? and they're, like I said, 40 whatever billion pounds per the valuation that they have, and they turn over millions and millions and millions in revenue in their company every year. Is it going to come from the Glazers, who's never done so in 18 years? So why would they start doing it now, suddenly, now that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is a minority investment holder with them? Is it going to come from there? I doubt it. So obviously there's still a lot of questions. There's still a lot of questions surrounding this. Owen said it perfectly that Sir Jim Ratcliffe has given the parasites a shield. If they win, they take money. If we lose, blame SJR. And this is why I said it's very difficult for me to get behind it. It's so difficult for me to get behind it. I want to, and I keep seeing this rhetoric. I keep seeing this argument about people saying, oh, if we had, if we were offered this a year ago, United fans would have jumped at it. Before a year ago, United fans have wanted Glazers out. So 25, this would have made no difference a year ago. This would have made no difference because the Glazers were not leaving. So it's kind of bad to kind of gaslight fans and be like, oh, if this was offered to Manchester United fans a year ago, they would have jumped at it. 18 months ago, they would have jumped at it. No, because the kind of the sentiment has been the same. The sentiment has been Glazers out, 100%. So I agree. I don't know when Owen said this, but I've shared this sentiment many times that it's very difficult for me to get behind it because the Glazers are still there, and the Glazers are still getting a slice of the pie. The Glazers are still getting a slice of the pie. How can you, guys, this is what I just don't understand. I just don't get it. How can you essentially be handing over, and obviously this is just speculation because we don't really know the ins and outs of this deal just yet, but it's reported that, Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe want complete ownership of the sporting operations. So is the Glazers valuing, the sporting operations of the club at 1.3 billion? So they're saying that's 25%. And then obviously I'm assuming the other 75% makes up, the profitability of the club, the marketability of the club, it's a global brand, etc. All of that kind of stuff, yeah. But how can the Glazers stay in as majority owners when they've essentially just sold the sporting operations? We are a football club. We're a sports club. Yeah, we're a sports club. So you've now sold the sporting operations. So why are you still here? What are you staying for? It's the fact that the Glazers still get to have a slice of the pie that irritates me even more. They've essentially made money now with that 1.3 billion that they've obviously sold or they're selling to Sir Jim Ratcliffe. They've still got, a percentage of majority ownership in the locker. And on top of that, they will probably still be making money as the quarters go on, whether it's through dividends or whatever. They will still be making money. I can guarantee that. I do not see a time when if Manchester United is profitable, that they would stop taking dividends. I don't see that happening. I cannot. That's very difficult for me. That's very difficult to me. Big up to Adam, says, Mina, I'm broken. I'm not watching United games again. Sir Jim Rat out, Leeches out, 18 years of SHIT and 7-0. Now, this, I know a lot of fans are struggling to kind of see the silver lining. I'm not going to lie, guys. I would have had the same. I think if Sheikh Jassim took over, there would have still been questions. There would have still been questions surrounding him regarding the fact, because I'm not going to lie, a lot of people I've spoken to about this are kind of reassured at the plans that are kind of coming to light regarding Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos, the people that they want to put in place. They're very reassured by that news. Obviously, the fact that Glazers are staying, people are not happy with that. But obviously, if Sheikh Jassim was coming in, I would be having questions about whoever he was willing to put into, because we were hearing about, potentially ex-players that some of them not having much experience in terms of football operations. So I think even I would just say that, there would have been questions, because I don't want people to feel like I'm, very against Sir Jim or I'm very for Sheikh Jassim. You guys know, if you guys been watching my channel and you've been watching United, you would know that I just wanted what was best for the club. Whichever owner was best for the club is the one that I was leaning towards. I never ever said that I was Sir Jim in or I was Sheikh Jassim in. I always just said I wanted what was best for the club. But obviously, as things kind of go on, there's more questions kind of coming to light, and I see people being very I honestly, guys, one thing I'll say is I don't think I've seen any optimism. bar Marcel, I ain't really seen that much optimism surrounding it, honestly. For me, I just wanted Glazers out. Same. If Sir Jim was taking over 100% of the club, I would very much have been happy. I honestly would have been happy. I would have been happy with that because Glazers are out. And I think that's why it's very difficult for me to kind of overlook. All I heard was full sale or we riot. Now it's let's see what happens. I can't get behind Sir Jim Ratcliffe in any capacity. I agree. And you know, that he also saw reports. Again, this is all just speculation most of the time because we don't know what's 100%. But the fact that they're willing to prioritize, you know, first team and transfers and all of that kind of stuff, they're willing to prioritize that over investing in training facilities, in the stadium, etc. For me, it shouldn't be one or the other. That's one thing I will say I don't like. It should be both. Both of that should be a priority. Investing in the club as like throughout the transfer window should be a proper priority. It shouldn't be like, oh, we will invest in, you know, buying players and, you know, getting the best out of our academy players and blah blah blah. But you know, because I saw a report basically hinting. It wasn't even hinting. It was an insider. Again, we don't know who these people are. They could be just made up. But it was an insider in this process that reported that Ineos basically are looking to prioritize, obviously, transfers, etc., over the stadium expansion or, you know, redevelopment or fixing the bloody leaks. And obviously training facilities, all of that stuff. And they basically said, well, we don't want to be like Tottenham Hotspurs, where we have a nice stadium, but no silverware. For me, it shouldn't be one or the other. It should not be one. For me, it should be both. Both should be equal priorities. Off the pitch performances, off the pitch situations, and then on the pitch performances. They should both be a priority. There's no reason why fans shouldn't be able to go watch the best team in the world in a good stadium, in a decent stadium. There's the whole idea of, oh, we don't want to be like Spurs is a slight dig at Spurs, but also they got a nice stadium and now they're winning. Because why? Because the manager has been backed. They brought in a good manager and the manager's been backed in the transfer window for the kind of players that he wanted. And look at them, back-to-back manager of the season awards, top of the table going into the transfer. They're even top of the table. I know they were, but they were top of the table in the women's league. They're not anymore, but they were. But for me, it shouldn't be one or the other. It definitely shouldn't. It should be both. And I think maybe that's why a lot of people were leaning towards the Sheikh Jassim offer and what we were reportedly hearing that he was willing to do, because of the idea that everybody wins, basically. You know, you get all the aspects in terms of what you wanted. Big up to Lil Yo-Yo in the chat, says, talk about removing debt was never an issue. Rich people use other people's money, banks to make more money. Paying the debt, not paying the debt, never bothered me. Oh, manager of the month. Yeah, sorry, guys. Not manager of the season. You don't know what it is. Honestly, all I want is Glazers out. If there is legitimate plans from Sir Jim, then I'm open to it. I question both sides, but I would prefer the Sheikh, of course. I rate the Glazers finesse. Listen, the Glazers, what they've done is jokes. It's jokes what they've done. I'm not gonna lie. Big up to Gingerbish, says, I wanted Glazers out 100% no matter what it took. None of this 25% nonsense. Then see what happens 3-5 years down the line. Honestly, I agree. I totally agree, man. You lot know my stance on that. Sort of off topic, but is there a women's preview for tomorrow's game or stream? Okay, so I'm in a bit of I addressed it at the beginning of the stream. I'm in a bit of a predicament. As you lot know, October is Black History Month. I am a keynote speaker at an event tomorrow. And I think it ends just as the women's game kicks off. So by the time I eventually get home, if I run home, like literally, like if I swing home like Spider-Man, I'll be home by the second half. So I might still do a stream, but I couldn't get out of it because it's not every day that I get to be a keynote speaker at a FA event for Black History Month. So I get to talk about my career, talk about, you know, how I've gotten to where I've gotten right now. And it's at the expense of missing the first half. But I'll be watching the second half. And if I am home in time for the second half, I will set up a stream so we can watch the second half together. I apologize for that. Big up to Daniel, says, I have stopped caring and talking about the owners. They are not the reason I love United. When they leave, we'll still be here. That's an interesting point, because I've seen quite a few people kind of share that sentiment. I've seen a lot of people talk about the fact that, you know, why do we care about the debt, it's not our money. Why do we care about, the Glazers not investing their own money? Is their money. They can choose what they do with it. At the end of the day, they still spend in the transfer window. I've seen a lot of this. I've seen a lot of this rhetoric, and I do agree. I don't care about the owners. You don't know this whole entire process, this whole entire takeover. I've been reluctant to talk about it. All the speculation. Do you guys remember all the bloody times we heard that Sheikh Jassim was leading the race? Now Sir Jim was the favorite. Oh, they're leaning more to. I was sick of it. I was honestly sick of it, and I told you that I would only do a stream once there was obviously cemented news. But I feel like this is a safe space. I always say it's a safe space for you lot to vent, for you lot to talk about, share your opinions regarding this, because I'm genuinely more curious to know if there's anybody out there that's actually happy with this. I've spoken to people who are obviously United fans. I've spoken to people who have been fans for 50, 60, 70. Someone I know who's been a fan for 70 years. Yeah. And they said that they do not care. They do not support this. And I just want to know if there's people actually out there that's happy with the situation, happy with the circumstances, because I don't think you could have wanted the Glazers out or the owners out and be happy with the fact that they are still retaining some sort of involvement. These Glazers are the worst owners in the Prem for 30 years. I'm sure there's a lot of other clubs that can definitely argue that with you. Big up to Kadeem, says, hello Mina, hope everyone is doing well. I hope you are doing well too. Big up to yourself. I was waiting for some Spider-Man reference. You lot know, man. If you lot follow me on Twitter, yeah, you know that I'm really excited for the Spider-Man game. I'm so gutted. I am so gutted that I'm flying out on Sunday, so I only get to play it on Friday and Saturday. And then I fly out for a week, a week and a bit, and then I come back. By the time I come back, if anybody has actually platinumed the game and finished it, I will be so upset. I will be so upset. I might actually just spend a whole week when I come back just playing it every day for like 15 hours straight. You lot know, man, I'm really excited for the game. Outside of all the sports games I play, that's probably what I'm most excited about. As well. I'm happy we have a domestic owner now, not like Man City or Newcastle. What does domestic as in? Are you saying that? Are you referring domestic owner in? I'm assuming that's in reference to the fact that he's a local lad. Sir Jim Ratcliffe's a local lad. He lives in the UK. He's UK born and bred. Although I think he lives in Monaco actually, but he's UK born and bred. If that's what you're saying, you know that you already know that Aki has weird opinions, so I respect it. I get people who don't care about the owners, etc. All I will say to them is they forfeit the right to moan when the team continues to falter. Do you guys? Okay, all right. This is a question out to everybody, and then obviously I'll share my thoughts. Do you guys genuinely feel like United will not get any better than what it's been? You guys say United in the last 10 years, the Ed Woodward, the Glazeronomics, all of that stuff, bringing in the most, sometimes, guys, I can't believe it, yeah, whenever I see throwback pictures of, like, a Bastian Schweinsteiger in a Manchester United shirt, because I'm just like, did he really play for United? Like, that was such a weird period of when we were just buying random people. Like, we had Schneiderlin, we had, obviously, Schweinsteiger, we had Herrera, we had Fellaini, we had the weirdest midfield. We had the most unusual midfield. Sometimes, guys, it just blows my mind when I see players, obviously, that we just brought in the last 10 years that spent a year or two at best at Manchester United. But do you guys genuinely think, let me know, yes or no, do you think things will get better with this new potential minority takeover, with Sir Jim Ratcliffe and his team having complete control of the sporting operations of the club, meaning he will get the opportunity to bring in, his guys, the people that he feels like can do the job? And you know what? The names, obviously, that's being suggested are people that have proven track records. These are people that have proven track records of good recruitment. Let me know in the chat your thoughts. Do you guys think it will get better? Because in some ways, I'm not going to lie, I'm like, anything other than the Glazers having sporting operations and control over that is better. But also, I'm thinking, is it too early for us? Is it too premature to comment on that? Do we actually know what is going to be the case in terms of what they have control of? Because For me, it's weird how you can buy 25% of a club and get entire sporting control. That to me is just weird. It's just, I know I've mentioned it earlier in the stream, but to me that is weird, and no one's batting an eyelid to this, by the way, guys. No one is batting an eyelid that Sir Jim Ratcliffe can buy 25% of the club and get complete control of sporting operations. We are a sporting institution. How can you get sporting control from 25%? It just, honestly, guys, it blows my mind. It blows my mind. And I think obviously as the days go on, we'll get more information, and obviously there will be more information available to us, and we will be able to have a better judgment. But just from the information that we've been fed, do you guys genuinely feel like there's no way things will get better? I think we'll get a bit better, then fall into a deep abyss of failure and incompetence. Ginger Bitch says, what proof or evidence is there to suggest it will improve? The Glazers are still at the club and ultimately have control over the club and final say on everything. And I think this is one thing that, after Thursday, hopefully we will have some more information regarding the order of control, or the, decision making, the order of decision making. If the decision making ends at Sir Jim Ratcliffe when it comes to sporting operations and sporting football decisions, or does that get all the way to the Glazers, who can end up making the decisions? Because if that's the case, for me, I see no difference. I just think that Sir Jim Ratcliffe has essentially come in to be the middleman between the fans and the club. That's it, basically. I think for me, that's the biggest cloud over everything. That's it. That's definitely my opinion. Mina, what if Sir Jim Ratcliffe wasn't British? Would he then be tolerated? What are you suggesting, or what are you hinting at? The fact that he's not being tolerated because he is British? Because I know a lot of British people that are not happy with him, with this bill. Just, it has nothing to do with nationality. It has nothing to do with that. I think it more has to do with the fact that the Glazers are still involved in some capacity in the club, which is, back to what someone said earlier, everyone was pretty much on the same kind of boat in terms of saying it's 100% sell, Glazers fully out. So I don't think it has anything to do with, I think if anything, if I'm speaking solely on my opinion, when it comes to the media aspect of this, and I think the media have played a big part of this, especially because they've had exclusive information available to them. They've had exclusive insiders, etc. I think Sir Jim Ratcliffe has had a favor done by the media, if I'm being honest, because the media were very much from day one supporting him. And this is before this whole 25%. People have only started to, the media have only started now to raise questions and be a bit more critical because it's the 25%. But when he was interested in 100% takeover, the media were pretty much doing a lot of PR pieces for him. But that's just my opinion. So Jim decides United need to pay off players such as Sancho, Maguire, etc. Then the Glazers say we ain't authorizing that. What happens then? Back to square one. That's true. Because we saw it happen with Jadon Sancho this summer. Murto, Arnold, Eric Ten Hag wanted to sell him. The board did not want to allow that, and it was back to square one. You guys saw where it's taken us now. Jadon Sancho, I don't even know what has Sancho been up to the last couple of days. It's been very quiet. I ain't really heard nothing. I saw a picture the other day, apparently him in a club, and then just before the international break, obviously we saw that he was at academy games. But this is another valid point. We need to know what the order of decision making is going to be. We need to know what the order of decision making is going to be. 100% better management makes this team much, much better. So Daniel feels like, if there's better management in place, then the team is better, which I can agree to some extent. I feel like if there's more, I don't want to say footballing minds, but if there's football people in football roles that know what they're doing, that have a proven track record of improving clubs, then things will only get better. And from what we've been told, I think obviously there's questions surrounding, like I said, the decision making, etc., who's paying for transfers, all of that kind of stuff. But if Sir Jim Ratcliffe is bringing in these people that reportedly is linked to these jobs at Manchester United, if he's bringing them in and they've got a proven track record, there's no reason from a footballing perspective that we can feel like things will get better footballing wise. I'm talking solely footballing wise. That's it. Obviously, I won't be happy till the Glazers are gone. Until they don't get the opportunity, sorry, to have another slice of the pie. Until they have the right now, they're still going to be able to make money, even though they've just made 1.3 billion. They will still be making more money. But just from footballing perspective aside, just solely focus on that. If these, Paul Mitchell, the people that have proven track records of great recruitment and changing operations at a club, yeah, I can get behind it. I can get behind that. But you already know what I said. Neil Ashton is the PR machine behind United. It's just appeasing the fan base, praying the fans don't burn OT to the ground. I hope that doesn't happen. Mina, everything is negotiable. He's paying a premium. That's true. I mean, he is paying. Do you really think do you really think he's paying a premium? He's been playing EA FC. All of you lot playing. He's playing COD. I never run into him in my COD lobbies, man. That's not fair. Mina, don't be surprised if you play Jaden on Ultimate Team. I'm always on the lookout. I think the Glazers are only concerned when you are touching the club's assets like Maguire, Lingard, Martial, Phil Jones, etc. I mean, those names that you just mentioned are not assets. I wouldn't even look at them as an asset. Obviously, the club does. To the club, they are an asset. But to me, some of them guys are liabilities. Having them on your financial statement is you should be allowed to put certain players in the liability section, because essentially the wages you're paying them is a liability every month. But that's just my opinion. But those names you've obviously mentioned there, I'm sure the Glazers would have happily parted ways with them if they could. I doubt it has anything to do with that. But obviously, one thing I will say, and I've seen a lot of people doing it, guys, don't dwell on the idea of Sheikh Jassim and what would have been. Please, let's move past that. If you hear me talking about it, I don't want to be a hypocrite. But if you hear me talking about it, it will always be, just in reference to certain stuff. Because I'm not gonna lie, guys, if this was the roles reversed and it was Sheikh Jassim coming in to Manchester United, I too would still have questions. Regarding stuff. And obviously, I know this is kind of the idea where, what could have been, and what if he goes on and buys another club, then let him. At the end of the day, he's a businessman, right? Chelsea fans, for example, yeah, when Sir Jim Ratcliffe was in the race to buy Chelsea alongside many other people, yeah, Chelsea fans, when they lost out on Sir Jim Ratcliffe, they never said, what if? No one said that. No one was like, the thought of having him and Ineos. No, move on, please. Honestly, guys, we need to move past it. Yeah. Obviously, we can, there can be, because really and truly, guys, yeah, one thing I will say, anything that we compare regarding how Sheikh Jassim would have done things and how Sir Jim will do things, it's just hypotheticals. We're just going off of hypotheticals. Honestly, it would just strictly be hypotheticals, because we will never know what it's like to have an ownership of the 9-2 foundation. And by the way, if they do go on to buy a club, they better change that foundation. If they go on and buy Liverpool, or they go on and buy Spurs, or they go on and buy Inter Milan, or whoever it is that they want to buy, they better change the name. Because as far as I'm concerned, that name was the sole part of the selling point of Sheikh Jassim as a fan, as a person. He loved Manchester United so much. We saw that one picture of him at Old Trafford many, many years ago. You better change the name. You're going to buy Liverpool? Change the name. Change it to the Cop Foundation or something else. You're going to buy Spurs? I don't know. Change it to Tottenham High Street Foundation. Change it to something else. There's no reason for it to still be called the 9-2 Foundation. Personally, I'm praying the board don't reach a majority vote and SJR fails and the news titles around the Glazers. Well, the interesting thing is what? The board is made up of how many people? I don't know exactly. If you don't know exactly how many people the board is made up of, obviously it'll be the 6 Glazers, who 4 of them have been wanting to sell 100% of the club, and it was reportedly only 2 that have been kind of reluctant to sell. So if they don't come to a majority vote, I might not be surprised. 12 people. Okay, it's apparently 12 people. So the what's majority is basically 7. That's seven people to get on board. And 6 of them are Glazers. 50% of them are Glazers. So we already know that 3-4 of them might not actually be for it, because they might want 100%. I'm not too sure. But then again, what happens if they don't reach a majority vote? What happens then? Because as far as I'm concerned, this deal is made for the Glazers. They have to, obviously, it had to be looked at as the final option, because, guys, is no one questioning, sorry, before I go on a tangent, yeah, is no one questioning all these other people that were interested in buying the club 12 months ago, 10 months ago. We were hearing about all these potential people, the investment firms, other, potential 100% takeovers outside of these two. I always think it was just these two. I genuinely feel like it was always just these two that were interested. Nobody's questioning it. No one's questioning why the fact that Sheikh Jassim essentially pulled out of the race, which meant that Sir Jim Ratcliffe was the default winner. Where's all these other people that were reportedly interested in buying the club? Which is apparently another reason why Sheikh Jassim felt like he was led on, because, it was really just him and Sir Jim Ratcliffe in the race the entire time. But what happens in the instance that they don't reach majority vote? Because as far as I'm concerned, this is tailored for the Glazers. This is tailored for the Glazers. This 25% ownership or 25% takeover investment, whatever you want to call it, is tailored for the Glazers. It was probably, written by the Glazers, because essentially Sir Jim Ratcliffe went from wanting 100% to 50% to 25%. So what happens in that instance? 6 Glazers, 3 reps from United, and 3 minority investors. Are you guys hoping they don't reach an agreement? I feel Sheikh Jassim was never going to be allowed with everything going on in the Middle East currently. Lots of politics involved, I should imagine. One thing I will say, guys, from what I've always seen, all I have to say, guys, is regarding, because I know people always talk about the idea of politics and all of that stuff. I think at the British institution, i.e. the British government, they will always welcome international investment, especially when it comes from that side of the world, because they got money. Not only that, there's a lot of other things politically that they have relations in, whether it comes to, buying weapons from each other, etc., etc. When Newcastle were getting brought, it was reported that Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince of Saudi, made a call to the then Prime Minister. I can't even remember who was the Prime Minister at the time, because we've had like 50 Prime Ministers in the last 2 years. But the Prime Minister at the time, and basically asked, can you guys get the ball rolling? Get the FA to approve it, etc., etc. And in return, I don't know how true this is, but it was reported that in return, Saudi Arabia would then go on to invest in British assets, i.e. buying weapons, etc., etc. So when we talk about the idea of, politics and football, I don't think it impacts investment. I don't think so, because the two institutions, the government institutions, they will get involved, and they will pull the necessary strings if so, especially at the fact that Qatar own a lot of assets in the UK. They own a lot of sources. Sources. Nah, I just read this in an article. I think it was The Athletic. I think I read it in The Athletic. I blame Sheikh Jassim for being stingy for just, by the way, 500k to 1 billion. Brother, do you have 500k? You're accusing him of being stingy. I'm not gonna lie, I had this mindset first. I thought, yeah, he's being stingy. There's not much difference between the valuation of what he was willing to pay and what the Glazers were asking. But also, you don't want to be taken for an idiot. Like, I'm not gonna lie, you don't want to be taken for an idiot. Sorry, let me just say it in proper English terms. You don't want to be taken for an idiot, especially when you feel like people are taking you for a ride with your money. So I'm not gonna lie, my brother, if you got 500k hiding somewhere, yeah, you borrow it to Sheikh Jassim, and you can invest in like 5% of the club, and then he can obviously pay the price that the Glazers wanted. Because I kind of get it. He did, a lot of, I think people expected, because I feel like people expected, because he's Arab and he's part of the royal family in Qatar, they've got money. um, Bam, he'll come. You ask for £7 billion, bam, there's the £7 billion, and I think that's what a lot of people expected. But whether he put his business hat on, whether his team put their business caps on, which is evidently what they've done because they've assessed the club at their value, even though they were willing to pay over the market valuation. The market valuation of the club was 3.5. That was the market valuation. 3.5 for 100%. To put it into perspective, guys, that's about what, £3 billion? That's roughly, I'm estimating, but it's about £3.1 billion, yeah? So Jim Ratcliffe is paying £1.3 billion for 25%. Based on market valuation, if he had doubled that and added about 500k, he would have paid the market valuation. But the Glazers were never going to sell for market valuation. They don't care what the market valued them at, because they said, we value the club at 7 billion. So pay up or stay up. This is more embarrassing than overpaying. We've all overpaid for something. Have I ever overpaid for something? I'm trying to think. You know what I do? Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When I go to like Africa and when I go to like the Middle East, I hate negotiating with like, when you go to markets, I hate that. I don't want to. You know what? You see, I'm a foreigner. You hear me talking English. You're gonna charge me extra. Okay, I'll just pay it because I don't want to haggle. I don't want to do it. And whereas when I travel with family, with my siblings, if I travel with my mom, they just want to haggle all the time, and they do it. They do it successfully. But me, I like my time. I want to buy a shirt, a t-shirt. You're quoting me $60 for the shirt. I will pay it just so that I can just take it and leave. So it's true. We we definitely all have overpaid for something in our lifetime. Apparently his father said no, they were not going to be taken for a liberty. I mean, if that's true, then I think that more so shows the fact that his father has an involvement in decision making, which is what they were trying to prove was never the case. They were trying to prove that it was not state ownership. They weren't trying to prove it was not state sponsorship. That's what they were trying to prove. So if it's true, and his father, who is actually what, the Emir of Qatar, if I'm right, the Emir of Qatar is his father. If that's the case, then I don't think it would probably do a good job in terms of you know proving that they're not state owned, or there's not any state involvement. But I hear it, and I'm sure a lot of you guys would have done the same. And you know what, I'm not gonna lie, I bet you Sir Jim Ratcliffe would have probably done the same. Obviously after Thursday, once this voting happens, we will know more and more information. But I just really want to know, what is the plans in terms of moving away from the Glazers? What is the long plan? Big up to Black Prince, says big up Minna, big up Black Prince, hope you're having a great evening. Isn't his father the president of the QIA? No, I'm pretty sure he was the president of the QIA. But let me just double check before. His father is Sheikh Hamad bin Jassim bin Jabir bin Mohammed bin Thani Al Thani, who is the Prime Minister of Qatar. He's not the Emir, sorry, I got it wrong. His father is the Prime Minister, or was the Prime Minister of Qatar. What is he now, I wonder? I wonder what he is now. I thought his father was the Emir. Let me double check if his dad is. This guy does not look like the Emir that I remember. The Emir of Qatar. The Emir is his uncle. The Emir, his dad was the Prime Minister, which is correct. The Emir is his uncle. Is his brother. What? Nah, these lot are confusing me. You know what blows my mind is obviously the names. Like, a lot of the names are quite similar. The Sheikh Hamad. So his dad, aka the ex-prime minister, is Sheikh Hamad bin Jassim bin Jabir bin Mohammed bin Thani Al Thani, because they are the royal family Al Thani. Yeah, that's where their lineage goes back to. And then the Emir of Qatar is Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. It's just bare habits. It's just bare habits. I'm trying to see what his relation is. Please, if anyone in the chat knows, what is his relation to the Emir? Because his dad is the ex-prime minister. But I'm trying to find the correlation between the Emir and the ex-prime minister based on the names. Oh, okay, I can see it from here. Okay, they're just, I think. Okay, so his dad. Okay, guys, I figured it out. Guys, I figured it. I figured it out. I figured it out. So Sheikh Jassim's father, who was once the prime minister of Qatar, yeah, was the heir to the throne of Qatar, but he turned it down and he gave it to his brother. So Sheikh Jassim that bidded for Manchester United, his uncle is the Emir of Qatar right now, who is what's his name? His name is Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. That's his uncle. That's his dad's brother, and his dad is obviously Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad bin Al Thani. Yeah, you guys get it. You guys hear it. You guys, I hope you guys figure it. I hope it makes. No, I'm wrong. That's a completely different guy. These names are just confusing me, guys. I just lied to you guys on air. Sorry, not throne. See, the thought of a royal family is getting to my head. It's clearly getting to my head. It's just Bear Hammads, Bear. Everyone got that in his name. So his father was, like I said, the prime minister, and that's all we need to know. That's all. He was once the prime minister. He ain't the prime minister anymore. He was the prime minister until 2013. Let's see what he's up to in life right now. He's not up to much. He's not really. Oh, is that his brother then? I think I figured it out. But anyway, guys, back to football. We're not gonna get involved in all of that. All we know is that they're all related to each other. Okay, they're all related to each other. United finally have a feeder club. So come January, Tadibo and Thuram bid gonna hit different. I love how people think that we're just gonna end up with Thuram and Tadibo in January, because it's reported that Manchester United won't see much of a difference in their transfer in January, because they won't really have the opportunity and the time to fully kind of get involved, and their main sole focus is the summer transfer window. I don't know, man. Do you guys think like this whole feeder club thing is gonna be a thing? I don't see it happening. Maybe if we're feeding stuff to them, maybe if we're sending them the likes of, if we could get a light 30 million for Jadon Sancho, I'll take that. Or maybe even 35, because it's basically we're paying ourselves 35 million and then we're putting it in our pocket. When I say we, I'm talking about Sir Jim Ratcliffe. But if it's more so us sending players, then I will take that. I would be okay with that. If you lot would be, let me know. Let me know your thoughts. You think there will be a Bollywood moment on Thursday where Altanz walks in and takes over the spy, while Rat just stares in disbelief? I don't think so, man. Guys, I told you, man. It's not happening. It's not happening, guys. We need to get over it. We need to get over it and just get past it. We need to support each other. We need to be there for each other. We need to console one another. Lend an ear to your friends, your mates in the chat, guys. Let's support each other through this time, okay? Let's support each other through this time. Minnow with the money manipulation. There's an accounting term for it. I forgot it, but there's an accounting term for basically when a parent company sells to a sister company. If you guys know what the term is, let me know in the chat. Would you rather own Manchester United or be a mayor of Qatar? That's a good one. I hate politics. I don't like getting involved in politics. But then again, I couldn't imagine billions of people around the world hating me. But then again, billions of people would hate me if I was an Emir as well. Then again, I couldn't be an Emir because I'm a woman. So I couldn't. But if I was a man, I still wouldn't. That's a difficult question, guys. That's a difficult question. And clearly this is where the stream is moving towards. So it's time for me to probably end the stream. I do not like Shah Rukh Khan. I don't know where that rumor started. I don't watch Bollywood. I know I obviously saw Fat for reference Bollywood earlier in a comment. I've never watched Bollywood. Maybe I should start. Minna, what's the net worth of the Jassims? All together, guys, we need to figure out this. Should I pull up a whiteboard on the screen, guys, so we can figure out this family tree, because it's actually confusing me. I'm not gonna lie. Who is Sheikh Jassim's dad? because they've all got Jassim and they all got Hamad in their name like 50,000 times. 50,000 times. So his dad, Sheikh Jassim's dad, nah, this is confusing me. Sheikh Jassim's dad is Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani, okay? And then he gave birth, he didn't give birth, but he had multiple kids. He also had multiple spouses. So as a result, he had multiple kids. And he's had how many kids? Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wow. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. He's had 23 kids. He's had okay, so he's had 23. Guys, let me figure out who his parents are first. Then I can figure out his relations to all these other people that I just named before. So okay, this makes sense. So okay, the Emir of Qatar is his brother. That's his brother. He had 23 kids, guys, not with the same wife. He had multiple different wives. He had 3 different wives, and he had about basically 7, 8 with each of them. And his okay, so Sheikh Jassim's brother is the Emir of Qatar. There you go. Yeah, I think that's pretty much the 2 most famous people in their entire family. Oh, and there's a few others. If you guys know like political stuff, then you'd know. By the way, these people are all young. Like Sheikh Jassim's born in 78. That's brazy. So okay, that makes sense. So let's find out what their network is, because now I have to look at it as the entire family. But the thing is, guys, if you guys are familiar with they are brothers. They are brothers. I'm looking at it on Wikipedia, and Wikipedia don't lie. Wikipedia said to me, if you don't want me to read it out to you verbatim, it says Hamad, Sheikh Hamad, which is his father. His father, is he still alive? He is still alive. He's 71 years old. He's still alive. He was once the ruling Emir of Qatar until he abdicated the throne and handed powers to his son, Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, which is the current Emir. Yeah. But what is their net worth? Because then this is a very big family. Let me find out what his net worth is. I need to find out what the royal family of Qatar's net worth is. Royal family of Qatar. Let's find out what. Goddamn. I didn't even know that much money existed in the world. What? Their net worth is 355 billion. 355 billion. But you know what? There's so many of them. There is so many of them. I want to see if they are the richest royal family. They are what are they in the world? Let's see where they are in the world. They're richer than the English royal family, the British royal family. They're richer. They are the 3rd richest royal family in the world. In the world, they are the 3rd richest royal family in the world. Number 1 is the royal family of Saudi Arabia. Then number 2 is the royal family of Kuwait. And then number 3 is the royal. Actually, no, they're number 2, and then Kuwait is number 3. God damn. God damn. You are confused. They are very distant cousins. Listen, I'm looking at it here. If you lot don't believe me, please, I'm happy for you guys to go and have a look at it. It says to me here, Sheikh Hamad had, with his second wife, he had what, 5 sons and 2 daughters, and it's all named here. One of them, Sheikh Jassim. The second one, Sheikh. Oh wait, nah, that's the wrong Sheikh Jassim that I'm looking at all this time, guys. I've lied to you, and you know what? MUFC 14 is correct, and I'm a liar. I am a liar. I'm a disgrace. I'm a liar. This is what happens. Everyone's got the same name. Everyone's got the same name. Let's see where this other Sheikh Jassim comes in. Let's see where this other. I want to know who his dad is, because it's still not telling me. Oh, his dad is Hamad bin Thani. Yeah, so they're all just cousins, guys. They're all first cousins. They're all first cousins. Yeah, 355 billion. That is a lot to go around. I think they said there's more than 200. There is more than 200 royal family members, which is, to me, absurd. Big up to Fat4 says, let's vent our disappointment until Thursday. After that, we have to accept what it is. and decide what needs to be done from there. I've not brought the merch and decided not to travel to OT next year. I haven't gone OT. I haven't brought the new kit yet either. But one thing I will say is I don't know how not buying merch impacts it, because as far as my understanding, and this is not me advocating for you guys to buy stuff, it's up to you, but from my understanding is that the club receive an upfront payment of, say, 40 million for the season for advertise for sponsorship, Adidas for example. Then Adidas, whatever they sell is made, it goes back to Adidas. So I'm not sure. Can someone confirm to me in the chat? Because I'll be brave enough to say that I don't know this. But if you buy from the mega store, does that money go, it sounds stupid, but does the money go directly to Manchester United, or does that go to the sponsors, given the fact that the sponsors have already paid a 40, 50 million, whatever it is, upfront fee for the year? I assume so. I would assume so. But I understand why, because I've seen a lot of this this argument, this debate regarding buying merch, you know, still buying tickets, season tickets, whether, you know, protesting should be done in the instance of boycotting, i.e. not buying stuff. I've seen this debate. I've seen it going around so much, especially regarding this Glazer situation. I've seen people saying that, you know, fans are like match day going fans are responsible for the Glazers still being there, which is just an absurd thing, because it was the match day going fans that got a whole game suspended. So to say that it's their fault that the Glazers are still there, and, you know, they're buying, people are still going to the mega store, people are still going to, you know, the shops to buy merch, etc. I'm not going to say it right now. I'm wearing a Manchester United jumper because I really like this one. It's from a couple of seasons ago. But I don't get how that argument can be had. Yeah, apparently United already got the money. That's what I thought. That was my understanding of it. But people have been getting onto fans. They split the money, a percentage as per contract signed with sponsors. Did you guys know? Actually, I'm not going to get myself in trouble, so I'm not going to give you guys that information. Big up to everybody, as per usual, man. You guys know what it is. As mentioned, Manchester United women are playing tomorrow. It's a 7 o'clock kickoff. I will try my best to do a vibe along for the second half, guys. I will try my very best. Please don't hold me to it if I don't. You guys know why I won't be able to. Let me know in the comments if you lot want me to do a vlog. I always say I'll do a vlog, but then I always stop. I forget to record when I go to events. But if you guys want, like I said, I will be a keynote speaker at a Black History Month event at by the London FA and Football Beyond Borders. If you don't want me to do a behind the scenes of that and let you lot know how the day goes, let me know. I'll try to do like a 7-8 minute vlog. If not, then I will definitely try my best to do a vibe along for the second half of the game, and then we can do a post-match analysis. Got some streams coming on Thursday as well. We'll be doing some Spider-Man streams on Friday and Saturday. Make sure you hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. You guys already know what it is, man. It's the road to memberships. It's coming, guys. I promise. Once YouTube approved my application, it will be here. Don't park anywhere for too long. Don't worry, I'm not getting a ticket. I got a ticket twice in 1 week. I've learned my mistake. I've definitely learned my mistake. If you lot are going to take away anything from this stream, park in places that you're allowed to park. Because you can get a ticket today, but you might get clamped tomorrow. I hope you lot take that away from this stream. Big up to everyone. As always, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. You lot know what it is. Until next time, guys, it's your girl, Mina. Peace.